The GM executives will identify a real-world problem, and then they evaluate what they consider to be the best solution. They send that out then to the student teams at 20 different universities. Students will evaluate whatever the problem is. They'll develop what they believe is the best recommendation. They may ask some questions through about a 2-week period as they prepare. And then we all go up and meet at GM, their world headquarters in Detroit, and the executive group will pick one winner, essentially have the best possible solution and also the best overall package as far as the results of the competition. It allows students to experience developing and creating presentations and then delivering those presentations, which is not an easy skill, especially for young professionals. But in addition to that, it allows them to evaluate a real world problem and kind of immerse themselves in the types of things that they'll be doing in the future, and then presenting that to executives so that they can get feedback directly and try to better understand what an executive would like to hear as they're solving these different types of problems that they're going to run into.
Probably 3 to 5 hours per week, just meeting with a group, and then also any outside research that I had to do on my own for the case competition.
I would say it started off slower with a couple meetings a week and then a lot of individual work. And then as we got farther through the case, it involved many more meetings. It ramped up and we were meeting almost every day.
As a group, we put in a lot of effort to meet together regularly on every other day basis throughout the week. We got the case 2 weeks before we presented to our GM executives. So basically every other day we would meet with each other for an hour to an hour and a half. For that time, any time before the meeting, I would put in an hour some of work to prep for our meetings so that we can be the best team possible.
Talking a lot to our messages and just to really coordinate and really understand what position we are in and moving forward how we could improve on a project.
You have to make a lot of assumptions, especially in the real world, so you get a lot of practice making those assumptions. But that was definitely a big challenge of the case.
The hardest part, honestly, for me would be working with the information that was given to us. We did not have enough information. The only information we were provided with was the forecasted demand.
I was staying locked in during the last late night practices right before we presented. Everyone was stressed and nervous, and it was really late. And it was hard to focus, but that was the most critical part, to bring everything together and make it perfect. And our whole team really did that, and it showed.
As a group, though, I would say the hardest part is really getting to know each other at a very deep level to where we can perform the best way possible.
Honestly, my favorite part for the entire project and the entire trip would be just networking.
My favorite part about the trip was hearing from the young panel speaker. It was a great experience to hear from them, who were GM employees and executives, and sort of get their perceptions of being part of the industry as a whole. Miami University and the supply chain suite do an amazing job bringing in young alumni and young panel speakers. However, to get more of an in-depth experience with GM was second to none. It gave me a whole new perception of my post-grad career.
Dr. Murfield, so our director for supply chain program here at Miami University, she sent us an email, and I was just really interested. Personally, I like to put myself out of my comfort zone and try something new. So it was a pleasure just applying for it and being selected for it.
I heard about it from Professor Farnbacher. He was talking to me about it in office hours, and it just sounded like an opportunity that I could not miss out on.
How to work under pressure, because of course we didn't have a long timeline for this project, and we could not get a lot of questions answered. So it was a lot of doing research, looking at external sources, and reaching out to people.
I learned that it's super important to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, because that's what makes you grow.
I learned a lot about myself and the way I am in a team dynamic. I think that you get into a lot of teams throughout your college career. However, it is such a different experience when you're not doing it for a class and you're doing it for the overall Farmer School of Business. It gave me an opportunity to not just think about the grade, but to think about the representation and to think about the whole team as we push towards this case comp.
Definitely do your research. I think anything you can do to learn about the automotive industry before doing the case is really helpful. So
my recommendation is that you do this. It's an awesome experience, super valuable, and all of the really hard work you put in and hours, it really pays off in the end, and it's worth it.